Hey all, EC here, and today I'm going to talk about the worst Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch. Now, there are many Pokemon games on the Nintendo Switch. There's obviously Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. There's quite a large number of games. You've also got some digital eShop only games. But Pokemon Friends is definitely the worst Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch. Let me explain why. So let's start with this fact. It's not a Pokemon game in the traditional sense. You're not really collecting Pokemon, you're not really trading Pokemon, you're not really battling Pokemon. You don't really have much of the traditional Pokemon formula. This is a Pokemon puzzle game where, unlike a game like, say, Pokemon Troze, the whole point of this game is the puzzles are very simple, very easy, and made for a lot younger audience. Now, that doesn't make this game bad in itself, but it's the difficulty of these games and the fact that anyone older than, say, 5 years old could probably play this game, get everything right, beat the whole game without having to worry about getting anything wrong or losing too many lives or anything. Because, wow, it's such an easy game. It is such an easy title to play and beat that it should have been a mobile game. And it was actually a mobile game as well. That's another big issue, is the fact that it was originally developed with mobile devices in mind. So they ported it over to the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch 2. And as the first new Pokemon game to release on the Switch 2, this is really just bad. It just doesn't really give you much of a reason to upgrade. First of all, because it obviously was also a Switch 1 game. But also the game just doesn't feel like it was made with the best intentions in mind. Because this game launched for £8 and $10 or $10, as the retail price for this base game. But then they proceeded to release 2 DLC packs for extra levels to bring the full price of this game up to £34, which I believe is around $40, right? $40 for this game, which is essentially a mobile game with extra levels. Like, I'm not the only one that thinks this is kind of messed up, right? And I'm not the only one that thinks that, the Pokemon Company and Nintendo shouldn't have charged that price for this game. They should have included all the levels in one go and then charged a fixed price for it. Not doing this thing where, like, you can buy the basic pack, and then, the higher tier is, has all the two DLCs. Because how do you launch 2 DLC packs for a game like this at launch without, like, cutting content? Like, that's just how they just cut the content and sold it back at a much higher price. And that's actually why I think this is the worst Pokemon game on the Switch. Now, do I think the game outright is bad? I just think the game is just very easy. And I don't feel like many people will actually be interested in this game if they're already a fan of Pokemon. That this isn't going to really appeal to them. And if they're if they're over the age of, like, say, 5, they'd probably already be able to beat this game within a few hours. So I don't really see, like, the audience for this, unless it's, like, aimed at, like, really young kids who they're trying to get into Pokemon, because obviously, how they got to keep the generations going. They'll keep getting the younger generations into Pokemon in order to keep Pokemon relevant. But I don't think this is a good game, and I think this is arguably the worst Pokemon Switch game that they've ever released. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Do you think this is the worst Pokemon Switch game? Do you think there's worse Pokemon Switch games? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe, like, share, all that sort of stuff. I've been EC and I'm signing out. Peace.